led by Oriana Oppice, who is a Chicago filmmaker. And we had the wonderful opportunity to see one of her short films, Lobster Fra Diavolo, at the Wilmette Theater during Luna Fest, and we really enjoyed it. And that's been showing at a number of other film fests. So I'm going to turn the microphone over to Oriana, and she's going to lead the discussion.
Hi, everyone. Hi. Thank you so much for coming out. This was such a great film. I would really love us to give a round of applause to our filmmakers up here. Thank you. So my name is Oriana Oppice. I'm a filmmaker here in Chicago, and I'm also the director of programming for Women in Film Chicago, which is how I got hooked up with the Wilmette Theater. I got an email and she said, we have this film, American Side, that's going to be screening here, and there's a woman director, Jenna, and would you like to come and interview her? And I thought, it's great that she's a woman director, but she's a director. Let me check out this film. Forget about the female part. And I got to watch it, before tonight, and I was just struck by so many things, especially this noir theme that is just, it's so nice to see such a classic form in a really modern setting and told in a really modern way. So my first thing to you, before we even get to introductions, is noir like a thing for you guys?
Yeah, I think it is a thing. For me, the tropes in noir are so fantastic, and they're so layered, and they're really juicy, I think. And then the conspiracy films of the 70s that also influenced the film are really echoes of the same style, this sense of paranoia and a regular guy and something much bigger than him. And same with Hitchcock. So these are the kinds of films that influenced me and us, I think. But they're always so much fun. You always have to pay attention. You always have to be a part of what you're watching. And that was one of the things we were hoping to do.
Yes.
I mean, you kind of have to be a fan of that genre in order to be able to carry it into a more modern story.
Yeah, and obviously the challenge is trying to tell that kind of a story like that we both are interested in, to tell it today. And how can you do that? Can you do it? Some people, think we can. Some people think we can't.
We like the people who think we can.
We like the people who think we can.
We're those people.
But even as you were asking the question, and I started thinking about it, for me, the initial development of the script was very influenced, obviously, by film noir. But today, when it's done, it's often, when you hear that, it's a bit of a parody when people try to do it today. And then even with some of our actors, they all embraced the script, which is how we were able to get them. But even they had a question, like, all right, their first question was, I really like this, but is this for real? I mean, are you going to play this straight? Or is this a joke? We're going to go for this, right? And they did. But your question made me think, regardless of the script, the look of it and the feel of it, obviously strong echoes of conspiracy films of the 70s, but also film noir. And it actually made me, just now I had a thought about your work in this from that perspective. I thought was interesting. I've never asked this question before. I'm putting you on the spot. So the noir element visually, that approach, and its color obviously, but how did you feel like you were framing things in a way that was reminiscent of?
I think that one of the things, when we think of noir, we think black and white. Obviously, we think either Dutch tilt or maybe a flat, a scene being played in a way where there's just two characters talking to each other and the camera really stands still. So there were elements there but just like the script, I didn't want to play up, I didn't want to do a Dutch tilt for no good reason. I mean, the Third Man's amazing and it works in The Third Man, and it's probably one of the best places it works. I'm not making The Third Man. But what I can do is get a really awesome tunnel that Charlie Pazinski has to run through, and we can play with the element of the set pieces being larger than him, or him being lost in the crowd, and some of those elements of noir.
That's actually a good point, because I do think, if you try to do those things now, it becomes sort of self-aware. I can do this because it's supposed to be this style, as opposed to having a real reason to do it.
Yeah, and it's really a daytime noir in a lot of ways. You're this beautiful city with this kind of perpetual sunset feel to it, and that's deciding to go in that way and bring in elements of noir visually with the carnival and the tunnels and the staircases and stuff. It was more of that than the straight film language of it.
Let's back up for 1 second. I'd like to let you guys introduce yourselves, as you guys know your history better than anyone else. So we'll start with the executive producer. This is Mary Henry.
Thank you. I'm Mary Henry. I'm the executive producer, which is not nearly as interesting as talking to these guys. But I met Jenna many years ago, shortly after she graduated from the NYU with a degree in acting. And she was actually helping out at my son's preschool. And for a lot of reasons, I was so impressed by her creativity and talent and work ethic, and just what an all-around fun person and interesting person she was to be with, that we sort of kept in touch for many years. And when it was time to try to raise money to make the movie, I was happy to help out. So that's my big role.
It's a very modest version of it, help out, but I'm Greg Stuhr, and I'm the co-writer along with Jenna of the film, and I played that guy. And
which guy?
the guy that you're probably tired of watching, the guy who's in every scene, for better or worse.
I'm Jenna Ricker. I'm the co-writer and director. Both of these two people are amazing. I didn't really tell you very much about how amazing they are, so I will for a moment. Mary has this phenomenal background in business and finance, and at one point in Boston, you were working with, preserving the architecture, and she comes to this story in a lot of ways. I'm just lucky that I'm close with her. And Greg Stuhr is a tremendous actor and writer, and when he told me about this idea he'd been kicking around when we were working on another script, I think I lucked right into something. So it's been a pleasure for me to work with these guys. It's not easy making a film. It takes a lot of people, and you can't do it alone. And when you find wonderful collaborators, you just want to do it again. So I'm really grateful to these guys.
So let's talk about the genesis of this project. Was Tesla just like, your hero, or?
No, I knew Tesla had something to do with electricity, frankly. That's about as much as I knew. And then when Greg told me more of the story and shared some of the stuff, I did a little research, but really so much of it was stemming from Greg's research. So,
the Tesla element really only came in. I didn't know a lot about Tesla either, but wanting to set the film in Buffalo, which is where I'm from, I think there might be some Buffalonians in the crowd. Yeah, Buffalo!
Go Bills.
Go Bills. And Bears.
But mostly Bills.
I wanted whatever the mystery at the core of the story, whatever it was going to be, I wanted it to be inherently connected to Buffalo, sort of inextricably connected, so that someone couldn't say, let's do it somewhere else. He doesn't go over the falls, he goes down the Mississippi. Tesla, having spent time, as you learn in the film, at the power plant at Niagara Falls and winning the sort of battle of the currents versus Edison, electrifying the power of Niagara to light up Buffalo, making Buffalo the first electrified city, all that. The idea that he actually did break up designs and may have left them in places where he worked, I thought, that's a great little MacGuffin to play with. So that's where that came from, really because it was connected to Buffalo.
But so much of it is well researched and as factual as we possibly could make. The design's a leaping, something of our own, but based on his technologies. But I encourage everyone to go home and Google, because you'll go down a rabbit hole and you'll just be stunned at how much of our technology today is because of the stuff he was talking about then, and things that the government has studied and developed. It's wild.
And the Tesla name right now seems to be really popular. Like, people are into it, so it's a really nice hook.
Yeah, perfect timing.
Yeah.